Your financial statement will basically tell you everywhere you either are doing extremely well or you need improvement on.
This is the Healey Brothers Show.
Well, we're back at the Healey Brothers Show. I'm here with Nicky. We got Dylan back on.
Second timer?
Yeah. Excited to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been overdone. I'm already clicking my pen.
Don't worry about that.
So we'll get started here a little bit. Nicky's going to kind of relay some questions to us, and we'll just talk about Healey life, talk about the industry a little bit, talk about EVs, and touch on all this good stuff, but I'll let you lead the way.
I think the first thing I want to talk about is, I know both of you attended an AD. I think you're still in it, right, Dylan?
Yep.
And you've been graduated.
I've been graduated for a bit now, but I'm feeling younger.
Feeling younger? What was your experiences at NADA like?
So I'll start. So I have been through 2 classes.
So explain how the classes are like. They're
Yeah. So my first class are basically what they do is they grab, a handful of anywhere from GMs. I got service advisor, general sales managers. So anybody in a dealership that they see promise in, essentially, that they could see one day potentially taking over the store or running a store. They basically admit them into NADA. You go there. It's 6 weeks every 2 months. And basically what they do is they start you with financial management. You go over the financial statement, and then they move into fix ops. So you start with parts, go into service, and then they move into variable. So we'll do used cars and we'll do new cars. And I think they throw a couple different caveats in there too with dealership leadership roles and stuff like that.
Some marketing stuff on how you should do it.
Marketing. So I am going into my 3rd week, which is service, finished up with financial management, and finished up with parts class. So 2 weeks from now, I'll be at NADA, and basically what they do is it's a week-long class. When you're there, start at 8 a.m., finish at 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday, and then Friday they let you out a little bit early just so you could get home to wherever you're going. I got people from California, Texas, a couple guys from Wyoming, Idaho,
All over the place.
Florida,
and it's like
Florida, so it's all over the world.
Yeah, it's like on the border
all over
for us,
the United
flying
States.
and driving, but it's not that bad.
Where is it located?
Tyson's Corner, Virginia.
So right outside DC. So if you leave at the wrong time, you can get DC traffic, even though it's
Yeah, that would be terrible.
About a 5-hour ride.
So it's always 2 weeks in between and then a week-long class.
Sorry, it's 1 week, and then you'll have a month and a half off. I think it's either a
6
month.
total weeks of class, but
Yep.
but then they break
Every
it up.
other month.
Yeah,
Every 2 months
because
you go down.
Because so I'll explain a little bit about this. So I finished, and obviously it's changed a little bit. They try to adjust with the times of digital retailing. Like when I was getting there, digital retailing, they really started talking about it. And this was like 3 years ago where it became really important. But how they have it set up is they want you to go back to the store, and they have like homework for you where you go and you work and stuff. Because a lot of these managers and dealers don't understand the whole outs of the dealership life. Like they're just they either get put into sales and they're locked in sales and they're one mind-sighted. So this gives you an opportunity to learn everything, know every outs of the dealership, know how to find the healthier dealership, and that's like the most important. Like you forget about obsolete parts, like parts that don't get used, and sometimes they just get hidden on the back burners. It's tons of dollars that are just sitting there. So the training overall is phenomenal, and just gets you to look at your whole dealership as a full business. Whether you're a GM, a service advisor, sales manager, you just get a better perspective on it, and you get the flow of the service working with sales and so forth. So it helps drastically there.
They also help with, they give you metrics. So your financial statements, the old saying, a picture paints 1,000 words. Your financial statement will basically tell you everywhere you either are doing extremely well or you need improvement on. So depending on their metrics that they've worked with thousands and thousands of dealers, so they know basically where metrics have to be to create a healthy store. So you got a lot of these people that come from variable operations or even fixed operations that go into these positions where one doesn't either know the back of the house, which would be service and parts, or they don't know the front of the house, which would be sales. So it's very interesting that they educate you all around. We just finished parts class, and I think a lot of GMs I don't even know if they've been in their parts department. So basically what the pre-class homework does and the post-class homework does, it gets you more involved in understanding what those guys, in the parts department, what they go through on a day-to-day, what they're tracking, what they're looking at.
And it's not the most glamorous. It's not the most glamorous
Right.
there all the time. So.
Right, but they find a way to make it exciting. They open your eyes up to where, you're either missing the boat or you're doing extremely well. So, you know, sometimes it's reassuring, sometimes it's eye-opening, and you got to go back and work on those, you know, specific parts of the dealership. But it's great for me. You get to meet great guys and ladies that work in all different facets of the business.
A lot of bright minds.
Very, very bright minds. Guys that have been in dealership for 40 years, and they've never been back in parts. So it's eye-opening to them. It's really cool. You get to pick a class president and stuff like that. So you become really, really close with the people in your class. You know, like. In 2 weeks when I go, we're going to a Capitals game down there. The whole class.
I got to tell that. That's
so it's really cool. You get to meet great people, and then these are people that you'll just, you'll stay in touch with for the rest of
the life. Another thing is like the teachers too. Like some have owned dealerships, some come from a family dealerships, some have been in dealerships their whole life, some owned, not even just worked, but one guy actually owned service facilities that weren't dealership operated. So he has a different point of view that you don't think about how important service is and how you should be open and stuff like that. So you get a lot of different walks of life in the auto industry, and it drastically helps. I mean, compared to college, like my college degree, taught me about business, and I had some good teachers and professors along the way. Did not tell me how to operate a dealership. This is just strictly how to operate a dealership, train, learn, check health, and then plus the best part is you're meeting some of the brightest minds that have a different take on it from all over the country. So you're just like taking something from them.
So in terms of the dealership life, would you say you actually learned more from NADA than the college you attended?
Oh yeah, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. I would say
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's specialized.
It's like an unfair advantage, and we take it really serious. Like my cousin Brian did it as well.
It's a big investment.
Yeah, he'd be great to speak. And another cool thing is, so I've been talking. Some classes have changed. Like they've updated them since I've been there, and they've updated since Brian. But Brian went back with me, so. Once you pay once, you can go back to any class as long as you just have to pay for your stay at the hotel. So I was thinking about going back to one that's like an update on their marketing and used cars, which they're going to mix together. I'm obviously going there for more marketing to learn more about it, see what they're talking about.
Brian's going for used cars.
Yeah, and they bring some people in to talk sometimes. Like I had Dale Pollock talk, who like invented one of our tools we use that pretty much we live by for used cars, the auto. So there's cool things like that you get to.
Yeah.
And you said you stay in touch with some of the people. So has this allowed us to like create relationships?
Would you did you guys do the Facebook group?
We haven't done it.
Yeah, we have NADA. I think I was 220. Group 220. It's a Facebook group, and guys chatting there all the time. I met from like a 7-year-old in there down to he's older now, so he's probably like 25 or 26, the kid. But he was younger than me.
What people within the company outside of like you guys have we sent to NADA?
So we've sent some people to do the NADA classes. They have an online tutorial, but we also migrate into a very sophisticated way of it. It's not necessarily class, but it's the NADA 20 group. So this is where our GMs will go. They'll bring our service directors.
I think my dad just went to one of those.
Yeah, your dad's been. So what that is 20 dealers. They have a mediator from NADA who's usually extremely, extremely knowledgeable, knows how to break everything down, knows the right questions. You have to do homework to go there. And now you're learning from your peers. You're learning from some of the brightest minds. I mean,
in the car industry. They basically vet out newcomers. So some of these groups, I know the group that Chevy's been in, I think they've been together for 20, 25 years, something like that. So every once in a while, you'll see a new dealer come in. So basically what the group does is that they'll look at their financial statements, their composite, and basically based on that guy's caliber and his willingness to want to contribute to the group, is they'll take a vote. So it's very specialized, I'd say, and very particular. So it's people that you want to surround yourself with.
Yeah, and if you have like a good oh yeah, it's super competitive. Like guys will get on each other a little bit, so it's nice, and we have a competitive nature, so that's always good.
Yeah.
But like for when I was in the Ford group, which is a top like Ford group to really talk about, and our general manager Maureen there, she loves it. I've learned more from just going there like 3 or 4 times than I would have anywhere else, like going to college or anything like that.
Right.
And she gets to talk to these people, and like she probably stresses what issues she's having, and they could troubleshoot them right there at the spot. So there's definitely a lot to learn. But back to what I was saying is there's some guys that get in, and if they don't participate or they don't bring something to the table to help the group,
just like they got voted in, they can get voted out.
They can vote out. They'll be like, hey, I'll take a vote. This guy's not contributing. He has a great financial statement. He has good numbers, but it's not helping the group. We want to get better as a group. We want to see everyone succeed. We want to help people turn their service departments into great service department. So that's also very important to them. So, and we give our employees the opportunity, which is great. Like Maureen, Bill, your dad, JP, they have this opportunity to go and talk to these people where some stores don't even do any of this, and they don't give their employees an opportunity to learn from somewhere else instead of just learning from management. Like, it's not good to hear my voice or my dad's voice every day. You got to change it up, but you need a different perspective sometimes.
Right. You take 20 dealers, put them in one room, and you find the best practices from every dealer. You know, when you got 20 guys that have been in the industry for, 20, 30, 40 years, picking each other's brains about what their best practices are and what's working. If that's not putting you in a trajectory to be somewhere better by the time you leave that meeting,
Yeah, and you're talking about what's changing too. Like, you're talking about EVs, like, hey, what are you doing to get these EVs sold? Like, a guy down in Texas compared to a guy in New York, it's a lot different. Like, they don't have to sell that many EVs, but like, he wouldn't have perspective. Like, we're trying to help him, or maybe we can get some of his EVs, like, and sell them to us. Like, it helps that, like, their Chrysler store bought, I think it was 10 4xEs from a guy in Texas because he knew them through a mutual friend. So
you got not only federal incentives, you've got state incentives. I don't know if Texas has
Taxes everywhere.
guys, people travel 100, 150 miles to go to this one store. It makes more sense in New York, California, markets where there's EV infrastructure. So, we help each other out. We'll take cars from them. They'll take big diesels that they'll sell down in Texas, whatever it is. There's just great relationships made.
No, that's something I would have never thought of, about like taking cars from each other.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, obviously, with inventory lately, with how.
I mean, for instance, we have great incentives here in New York from the state, so it would make sense. Was it $10,000 from the state at tax credit?
It depends on the vehicle,
Depends on the vehicle and the price of the vehicle, and it depends on there's different rules, like with your tax bracket and stuff like that. So you'd have to bring that all up, go to the New York State. There's some different ways, but obviously we can help you figure that out, and we know what you apply for and all that stuff.
So outside of like EV stuff, are there any other like big moves that you guys learned from NEDA that have like happened at the manufacturer level?
In terms,
Well, you guys are talking about how.
Well, NEDA goes to bat for us with the OEMs all the time. They have their own like legislative like branch in there that go to bat for us. But one thing we learned is always try to have a great relationship with the factory. Whether it's going good for you or not, you got to try to have a relationship. They're the one that feeds you cars. At the end of the day, they want you to sell more cars, whether it doesn't seem like it sometimes. But having a great relationship with your reps and the OEMs is huge, and we try to do that at every location. Whether, there's some heated battle and our managers get super frustrated, or our sales manager thought he was going to get these cars before the end of the month. But that relationship, they always tell you, like, it's better off to be good than be on their bad side. That's for sure.
So I know you're saying like where it was like give and take information. Obviously, our Lincoln store has taken like a digital transformation with our showrooms. I don't know if any other stores in the country outside of Lincoln do that, but do you guys see like a true benefit to the virtual style that Lincoln has approached their, I don't know if I want to say just their sales, because they don't really do it in service that much, but do you see a benefit to it?
Service is more like, hey, you don't need to come to us. We'll pick your car up, or we'll even service it for you. But
with sales, it's literally like a virtual showroom when you come in. There's no like paperwork and stuff like that. Do you see like an actual benefit to the customer in those scenarios?
I mean, it really depends. It's the comfort of the customer. I think you're giving them the opportunity to choose more often, and the comfortability of sitting down. So you're still working in those lounge areas, where we call them lounge areas, I believe, where you could work on your car. You see your car, and the manager's still there. But I guess it's all about choice for the customer. To me, I mean, that's what it's really giving them, and you're giving them the no pressure feeling. Like, hey, let's sit down. We'll look at the cars that you want. We'll go through them all. We have a few on the lot, but if not, we could always order. That's kind of style, I guess, it's going for the luxury market, the ultra luxury market, and the luxury market. So
right,
kind of my takes.
Customers have this preconceived notion they're walking into a dealership. It might not be as comfortable as they would be walking into, let's say a home goods store or something like that. So basically, what it does is it essentially takes their guard down. You put them in a comfortable environment. You could go get a French vanilla latte, whatever it is,
nice Healey
water, whatever it is. But, it helps them become more comfortable in an environment where stereotypically they're not too comfortable in a car buying experience. But this is a full luxury experience, and we want them to be comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect well. So, I mean, I think we still have the people that the consumer and rightfully so, like back in the day, like how they perceive, like, oh, I want to go in and get haggled for price. This is, hey, you walk in stress free.
Yeah.
Let's customize the experience for you, and let's have the least stressful part of your day be right now, because you're going to make a big purchase, and we want it to feel comfortable and right for you. So that feeling when you walk in, and that hey, we're going to pump the brakes here. We're going to give you that ultimate luxury experience.
Okay. Are there any other ways, even outside of like the Lincoln showroom, that we're trying to like transform to a little bit more digital? If it really is like alleviating stress for customers.
So I pretty much most of our facilities now have the Surface Pro. We take it to go. We can go there, but we'll work with the customer virtually. And we'll send videos to the customer if need be. Like Kia is pretty good at it. Like they'll go and show a car, send it to one of their customers, and
Chevrolet just did it. So they're going, the last week and a half, I believe, they've been.
I remember we spoke about that.
Stressing very heavily on, eMPIs, which is basically a digital MPI where you take, if the customer's not there, you take the service technician takes a video of the customer's car, goes through everything that, might be wrong, might be great, sends that to the customer, and the customer will pick and choose what they want, fixed that day. So it's just, I guess what we're trying to create is it's like a hybrid, but as much transparency as we possibly can in the service industry. So, they get to see their brakes rusted or their pads frozen, whatever it is, and they get to see that, and they're not just told it by word of mouth. They get to see an actual video. It makes them feel more comfortable that their, vehicle is what we're saying it is, and then they get to make an educated decision on what they want to do
with our professional employees, telling them, hey, this is what's going on here, and really describing it. I mean, that's what we are. We're like your doctor for your car. So we need to give them that professional advice, but let them make the decision. The ball's in your park, sir. And we recommend we'll give them hey, how soon this concern can get a lot worse, or should we fix it now? We give them like we do with anything. Like it's going to be leveled. Like your tires, you have this much time to get to replace your tires, your brakes.
Yeah, winter's around the corner. So, you got 30 seconds.
Like, do you want to change them in midwinter, or do you want to take care of this now? We'll get it done now.
Do you see it going any further? So obviously, we have the digital now in the showroom at Lincoln. We have what'd you call it, eMPI?
eMPI, yeah.
So we have a virtual style with service. Is there anything else you can see?
So the eMPI is just the electronic multi-point inspection.
Do you see anything else being implemented to make it a little bit more virtual? Because virtual is obviously a big thing in every.
All our websites are tailored right now to on the buying side to purchase online. I think it's the consumer. Besides Tesla, I think the consumer is still going in to finish deals at Tesla. I mean, they've done a great job transforming it. We have customers that come in, they use our calculators, they fill everything out, but they still want to touch, feel, and smell that car. And also they want to see if what they get approved for, whether we have the tool on there for credit, or they might have better credit than they think, and vice versa. Even though they have their banking app and they could have an idea, I think it's more comfortability for the consumer doing it online. I think they want to do a lot of the process online and do it away, because they can go on YouTube and find these cars. They can call and reach. We could send them videos of the personal car.
But it can never really be 100%.
No, I think it can be. It's just the consumer is going to jump full in, and whether the technology is there to accurately from the bank and line everything up with the lender as well, which is important too, because we want to give that customer choice of lender. We don't want to just, because they might be comfortable with their bank, and we want to be able to have that bank give a loan on that vehicle as well. So there's a lot of moving parts in the auto industry with tags and lenders and all that stuff, that it's a lot more difficult than people just think it's like that. So
it would be more than just on us as the dealers to make it more digital and virtual. It really has to be from the customers being accepting of it, I guess.
Willingness to adapt.
Yeah.
And I'm going to...
So I can imagine over time, as people from my generation start to get older,
but we want to...
I would imagine it gets a little bit more virtual and what...
We're going to want our car picked up and dropped off after a service appointment. We're going to want to see a video of exactly what's wrong with the vehicle. Stuff.
You're leaving me out of the you and I there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not that old.
But I'm going to jump back to service real quick, and we talk about transparency and sending these videos, these digital copies of what exactly is going on with their car. We're in the process of, adapting to what I would call, an Uber technology, to where, Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, where they give, exact updates on where your food is in the process of, a dasher picking it up or whatever it is. And, now we're in the process of implementing a technology where it's going to show, if the customer's not there, or if they are there, where their car is in the process. So a check-in process, when that car gets into the garage, and then potentially a checkout process. So we're in those growing pains right now. So
Okay.
yeah, it's another
What this
step.
really is doing though is setting expectation for the customer, and that's like the biggest thing in service too. When a customer walks in, hey, your appointment's to meet with the advisor at say 8:15.
Your check-in times
check
at
into 8:15. We'll go over a vehicle, but your car might not be brought in say for 30 minutes. Would you like to get driven to the mall or get a cup of coffee? But it's setting expectations, and this tool, this technology, which we're trying to give to that customer is, hey, this is the expectation where you're at. Now you can track it and get an idea, and we'll give you updates on the way. And you could always reach out to your advisor, text or email, whatever's your comfort level.
In the last 2 or 3 years since COVID, we've seen massive innovation in the automotive industry. Real quick innovation, and it basically comes around transparency.
Now, with like the 20 groups and stuff, is that like an industry standard that's innovating towards like digital assets, or is that really something that like Healey Brothers is doing?
No, I mean, I would say it's trying to be an industry standard. I would say we have a leg up on it. We tend to adapt and innovate quicker than other dealer groups. What I've seen from our 20 groups.
Right, and then you got a 20 group, you got 20 very solid dealers. These dealers are typically ahead of the curve. So when it comes to technology, innovation, stuff like that, these dealers get to talk to each other when these products come out, and who's doing it great, who's not doing it great, and how can you get better. So again, being part of these 20 groups is you have the disposal of adapting to technology quicker than some of these dealers that might not be in 20 groups, because you get to hear from 20 different parts of the country or wherever they're from, what they're doing, how their market's changing, and if we could use that technology to better the experience.
And you got to remember, the technology that we're bringing on, that we're trying, is to help the consumer experience. 90% of it is. It's not necessarily to help us, it's to make the experience better. That's our end game. We want to make it easier for you to receive your information, easier for you to pay for your vehicle or pay for your service, easier to communicate with us, and just have that full feel of being in control as a consumer. That's really why we bring these technologies on, to make it stress-free and customized to you. Like, who doesn't want to have everything in the palm of their hand and be able to do everything in the palm of their hand on their iPhone? Like, I can't.
My grandparents don't.
Yeah. Grandpa Healey uses an iPhone, but he's just checking emails on it. So and he has to make a call. But that's really what it is. It comes down to using these technologies and being the forefront of it at Healey Brothers against our competition, to make that consumer experience elite compared to everyone else.
So it's all across the board. But now shift gears a little bit. We've gotten like a lot of like all new models, right, across all the dealers, between the Kona, Ioniq 6, Ioniq 5 is already out, but the Kona, the Ioniq 6, you have the new Colorado, you have a new Traxo is out, the new Mustang is out. I don't know if any of you guys have like the pleasure to drive any of them?
Just about all of them. Just about all of them besides the new Kona.
But you own the Mach-E, that was probably the one you had the...
Yep, I own the Mach-E, but just in terms of what you mentioned, the Trax, I've had the pleasure of driving that. The Colorado, I've driven
that one yet.
Haven't got behind the wheel of the new Mustang, but all these vehicles look beautiful.
Yeah.
You couldn't be more excited
And the
about
tech in all of them
what the
is-
manufacturer's releasing right now.
And the tech is
Modern,
coming along.
updated styles of these vehicles that have been around for a while, and some vehicles that are new to the market, but the right price point, high demand. The new Colorado, I don't think there's a truck on the road that looks better.
There's not a small truck that's out there.
It did kind of copy a truck though.
What's that
It
one?
looks very similar to a Tacoma.
A little bit, but better looking.
Yeah.
They took the Tacoma and
But it doesn't have the bow tie on the front of it there, Nick.
Does it? No.
yeah.
The Colorado, it's nice. It's very nice. It's really nice.
I think the biggest thing with all these companies and OEMs, and it helps us out, is the technology they put in them. Like,
There was a technology in the new Mustang that really aggravated me.
one brand was a lot better than the other. Now you go into one car, you're like, what features do I actually like better? They all have everything I need. They have Apple CarPlay. They have literally everything I need, and it's all in the touch of your hand. Like, what features do I like better? Like, where do I like it better on the screen? That's what consumers are complaining about. Like, oh my God, I like my dial instead of touching it now. Like, that's one of the biggest things. So it's amazing to see how far they come with the tech, because I think tech is so important to everyone nowadays, especially to the younger generation. Like, if you don't have it, they won't buy it. If you don't have that technology, they just kick it to the curb. So
There's technology when I drove the new Mustang, like the actual like gas powered one, not the electric one. It was like a love-hate relationship. I don't know if you guys know like what rev matching is when you're trying to downshift. Such a love-hate relationship. I know why some people like it, because I finally realized why it's so convenient. You just like leave your foot, like the clutch engaged, and you can just go into like downshift any gear, and it just does it all itself. But at first, like it was so aggravating because I was
That's aggravating you. You're like 20.
I'm about to be 23 tomorrow, okay? But I tried downshifting myself, and it was aggravating me for probably the first like 20 minutes I was in the car. But finally, after I like got used to it and I realized like I just don't have to touch the gas at all. Like me trying to downshift and match it myself is making it worse. So I didn't find a way to turn it off, which I would have preferred to, but it was definitely a convenient type of technology for someone that may not be like more comfortable. But then something with the technology that I like that Ford did, they gave you two options with like your screen display with Apple CarPlay. You can kind of make it smaller or bigger. It's a huge display. It's like 13.2 inches. But then the other thing that they did, because they don't have any physical buttons for your climate control, as there are other brands that you sadly have to go to a completely different screen to touch your climate controls. I actually left them underneath the Apple CarPlay on the screen, so you didn't have to like leave your Apple CarPlay and go to a separate.
That's so concerning. You can't switch them. But yeah, it's a pain point.
That's what's great.
It's a pain point for customers.
Yeah, no, leave the climate control where it is, and whatever entertainment's got to be on the.
I mean, realistically, that's really what you're touching the most is your climate control. I mean, I play with it.
Yeah, because it's not physical buttons. It's on the screen, but they made it so because other brands you have to go to a separate screen to do it. They did leave it underneath the Apple CarPlay, and that was probably the thing for the Mustang outside of the V8 that I liked the most was that little thing with the climate control. Something that people call is like range anxiety, and you wanted to touch on this because it's a real thing.
It's definitely a real thing.
I learned it in the Mach-E because I wanted to see how long it actually took to go from 80 to 100. So it's a real thing. It took me like 25 minutes.
So let's just describe what.
So it's a real thing. If you want to describe it more.
So I mean, for range anxiety is for all the EV buyers or the people looking into EVs. Because I think majority of people are looking into EVs. They just have in the back of their head like, am I going to be able to make it to work? Am I going to be able to make it to the grocery store? Am I going to be able to drop my kids off in the car dying of battery? Because we don't have the crazy infrastructure yet in our country. I mean, there's chargers, places, but also do you have the time to wait an hour? They're not all fast chargers. So the range anxiety comes in like just simple. Am I going to be able to get from point A to point B without dying?
Which you majority of can. It just comes down to.
I think if you're going to work and you're going back and forth, there's a no-brainer to do EV. And first off, they have the great pickup. They're phenomenal technology. They have more room than anyone thinks.
Rear legroom in the Ioniq 6 is unbelievable.
So, yeah. I mean, and 80 to 90%, I don't know if we could probably look that up and put that in the podcast of 80, 90% are people are just charging at home. So they don't actually use the chargers out. So the people that have them, they're all charging at home.
And they don't take up much space, I'll be honest.
No, they're tiny.
I thought it was a level 2. I thought it was going to be larger.
Call me.
And the parts manager hands me a box like the size of this Microsoft Surface. So I'm like, wait. I'm like, that's all.
He's calling me the other day. He's like, dude, where do we get these? I was like, we keep them in parts, Nicky. They're not big.
Right.
He handed me it comes in a bag. Like it's a really small container.
And they're at the dealerships too. And I mean, we use them at the dealerships for people to plug in. But I don't think the consumer, I understand why they have the range anxiety. I don't think they need to have it.
My best advice towards it, because I'm terrible, I'll push off getting gas in my car all the time, and I'll wake up and it's got like the fuel light on. I'm like, all right, I'm not even going to make it to Poughkeepsie Chevy, and that's 15 minutes from my house. So I think my best advice for people is like, obviously the home charger makes it easy. You just get home and plug it in, but it's just really just playing it a little smart. And not letting your range get down too low. And if it is low, like plan ahead. If you know, like for instance, if I know that I was supposed to come to Beacon today and I let my Mach-E get to 15 miles left, I know I'm not going to make it to Beacon and I'm probably going to be late, honestly, because it's going to take me a little while. So I think it just comes with preparation.
Plug it in at night.
When I had my Mach-E, it was my ability to prepare the day or night before I was going to go anywhere that allowed me to go wherever I wanted to go, whether it's finding, public charger somewhere or just knowing which parking garages to park in New York City, whatever it is, you just got to be prepared the night before. Now, is that a growing pain? Absolutely. But when it comes to range anxiety, stuff like that, everybody's got it with their iPhone. Luckily for the iPhone, it's small enough that they created a battery pack that you could plug in your phone anywhere, so we don't have the luxury of that just yet in the automotive industry with big vehicles, but You know, maybe it's something that comes down the road where there's a, you know, a charging pad underneath your car where you could pull off the roads.
I never even thought about that.
And the infrastructure is coming. I mean, it's going to be there. It's going to take a little bit, but it's going to get there. And these EVs are phenomenal Vehicles. They're literally phenomenal pieces of technology that 10 years ago you wouldn't even think existed.
Yeah.
And now they're here. They have plenty of capability, and as long as you're charging them at home at night, you're good to go. And we're making it even easier for the EV. We want them adopted in our area because we think they're great vehicles and we believe in them. Two, in New York State, we have to start getting there and changing. And then like it's a no-brainer that we're giving away these chargers and we're making it easy on you, and then the $500 credit. Why not take a chance? Why not try out an EV? If you don't like it, then you can always go to a hybrid and have them mix the gas and electric feel. So
Something like a 4xe, they're hybrid.
Yeah.
They're plug-in hybrids. Chrysler's got multiple plug-in hybrids, actually.
and my fiance's dad's manager at Market Basket, he lives in Warwick and he goes to Franklin Lakes. He never puts gas in his car all week. He makes it there back and forth on the 4x.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He absolutely loves his 4x. He got 2 other employees there to buy 4xs. So they're 4x out up there. I'm sure Mr. Strauss is putting in chargers everywhere for him, but
Here's a small thing that I don't think people think of, and it's kind of safety with EVs. Obviously, in New York, we have hills, right? So rollover rates, I'm assuming in our states compared to a state like Texas, are probably higher, truthfully, because rollover weights will deal with, you know, a different center of gravity in a car. You come around, turn a little too hard, rollover rates are a real thing. EVs have a center of gravity that's unmatched to any other type of gas combustion engine. They just don't have it because of where the battery lays in the bottom of the vehicle. So they're super safe in terms of any type of maneuver you might make on the road. So that's something that people might overlook. Granted, you can avoid it if you just play like Hill Smart, but sometimes it's unavoidable if, let's say, someone's coming into your lane or something and you have to make a sharp turn. So that's like a little safety aspect that I don't think people think of. And that center of gravity also helps even more in we're in New York inclement weather, because now you're pushing heavier on the ground with your downforce. So the safety aspect of EVs is definitely higher than people would realize because of the location of the battery.
I mean, that's really in detail, and I think that's a phenomenal point. Plus, they're all-wheel drive as well. That's a no-brainer. Like especially in the Northeast, all-wheel drive is the king here now.
They're the most responsive vehicles on the market too.
Oh, responsiveness is unbelievable.
Yeah. And when it comes to maintenance, you know, the regen braking capabilities of these vehicles, you know, typically you go through less brakes or your brakes last a little longer.
That was just making me think something smart. But just tech, and you know, people are like, oh, you still have to do maintenance on this, that. On our Chevy Volts, right? Because my brother works at the Chevy store. The brakes would rot out before they actually need brakes because of like regen braking and everything like that. You're not using your brakes as much as you would. So even though people always bring up the aspect of maintenance, it's really not. It is less maintenance than a regular car is, even with your brakes and everything. The Volts, usually the brakes rotted out before they actually need to be repaired.
Yeah, that's amazing. I haven't heard that yet, but that's, yeah.
I didn't know that until probably a month ago, honestly. And him and one of the other techs told me that, and I was like, you know, that kind of ends part of the debate where people bring up some maintenance aspects of it, like, oh, you still have to do maintenance. Yeah, they rot out before you actually need to replace them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
I mean, at the end of the day, I would say give it EV a try. Take it first, come and test drive it at least, and take it for a spin. I think you'll be amazed at the power, the responsiveness, the drive, the feel, the technology of that futuristic, modern feeling. It's different. It's a lot different than your gas vehicles. So, I mean, that's my
It's like going from a flip phone to an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's groundbreaking.
Exactly. Now you're just
I never owned a flip phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Come on.
I had a slide phone, but no flip phone.
Motorola Razr.
Yeah, Razor's the best.
It's phone on the market.
Yeah, I never had one. I think the only other thing that I want to touch on is a totally different aspect, and it's a great job that we've created, or that Healey has done with what I would call like a dealership identity. And I think part of that is really due to giving back to the community and our presence on social media. And the reason why I can say that is that a lot of people within the local community know that Healey gives back with all the events that Healey is a part of. So they know that Healey gives back. So that's an identity that Healey has created, is like, of people that give back to the community. So that's going to help with presence, sales, everything, because now they know they're buying from somebody in a company that's actually like good people in a sense. And then when it comes to dealership identity with our social platforms, in random scenarios, people know the faces of our employees. For instance, I can walk into a Ready Coffee, and I think we talked about this, where the worker brought up to me about how she was looking for a car, and she just saw my face on Facebook when she was looking for a car. Granted, she didn't buy a car from us. She bought one in Jersey because we didn't have what she wanted. But so that's just a dealership identity we probably take for granted, is just the faces of even someone like me when it comes to shopping for a vehicle because of our videos that we make. But even when Steve and I were at the auto show this year in 2023, who was the dude? Where did he say he was from? I don't even know, but think about how big and how many companies, because we were at the media day, are at the auto show. And some dude walks up to me thinking I'm a YouTuber, but all it is Healey's identity for our social platform created somebody in a huge type of event in New York City to know our faces. So I think like our dealership.
Is he stealing our stuff, Nicky?
I don't know. He had a camera and whatnot, so I don't think he worked for a dealership.
I think we talked about this earlier this week, is you're humanizing the content and humanizing the dealerships. And that's so important. You can't just be putting the vehicles online. Yeah, people want to see the vehicles, want to know about them, want to know the quick tips about them, want to know how to little tricks with the technology and all that stuff. That's all great and fun. But if you're not bringing a face to it and showing who's at your store, who helps doing what, the best thing is now, like, we're getting more buy-in from the stores of the salesmen and the salespeople creating videos with their customers and taking pictures with their customers and creating that feel of when someone's looking for a vehicle, like, oh, like, just an example, Teddy T is having fun with his customers. Look how easy he made this process. Look how happy she is. She just bought a new Kona. You're seeing the joy that people get when you're humanizing the content that's being shown.
Yep. I just listened to a podcast where a big time executive, he said the two components that potential buyers take into account when they're going to buy a new vehicle are, one, the dealership's ability to give back to the community, and two, their Google reviews. So when it comes to, somebody considering a first-time buyer or somebody that didn't have a great experience at their last dealership, they're trying something else, the two things that they take into account are Google reviews and that company's ability to give back to the community. So that's something we stress here, I always want to ask for more. Ask for a Google review. Ask for, a review, or have them call into GM, whatever it is. Just get that, if you gave a great experience, why not ask for a review? They kind of go hand in hand, and then our job is to,
Yeah, I mean, that goes vice versa. If you didn't have a great experience, we need to know about it either, as well. Like, we want to fix the issue. We want to know where maybe something went wrong, or maybe it was something simple as we just forgot one little thing, or it was just a miscommunication. But we need to know either way. And it's so important for our employees to get that feedback back and forth, good or bad. Yes, we want every experience to be perfect for that consumer and have it, like I said, customized for them. And if they did, we want to hear about it too. Our employees enjoy it more than you think, and it makes them feel so good. Like, oh my God, I did a phenomenal job. I went above and beyond to get that customer the car they want and at the time they want, and everything worked out perfectly. It's helps the store. It also helps that employee, and it shows other consumers that we're the right place to do business.
Yeah. I heard
it's important.
One of the best things I've taken from NADA so far is just a quick saying that I believe they teach to every single group that comes through their academy, is that price is a problem in the absence of value. And that's what we try to do at Healey Brothers. When it comes to why do people go to the Ritz-Carlton? Why do people, eat at Chick-fil-A instead of McDonald's? Little things like that, is that the way people are treated when they walk into a Chick-fil-A or a Ritz-Carlton, price is a problem, price is not a problem because they're getting an added value. And that's what, that's the identity that we're trying to embrace here, is that we want to create an experience. We want to be nice and, say things like my pleasure, like Chick-fil-A does, in order to get that customer to, one, feel comfortable, but two, just, have that added value that they feel comfortable spending their money at a certain location. That's with Healey Brothers.
Yeah.
So.
And there's another thing that we do that we try to instill in all the employees. Like, when you go to a Chick-fil-A, there's that one employee that does that special thing for you that you're not going to expect. Like,
throw in an extra sauce.
Yeah.
Do this, do that.
Or like, hey, like, here's a small fry. Like I've gone there and I even get fries. Like, oh, here's a small fry with your meal today. Like they go above. They're taught to do this one extra little thing, and we try to tell our employees to do that. Whether it's like just you see the customers coming in, and you know they had a dog or something like that. Just have like I've seen it at the Ford store. Have a bowl of water ready for the dog because they always bring the dog. They don't leave anywhere without it.
So our dealership identity goes more. It's larger than even just the idea of giving back to the community.
And that's very high. Listen, we love doing it. It's not just we live in our community. We want to be a part of the community, and we want to help everyone in the community. Granted, can we help everyone all the time? No, but that's a huge part of our identity, and that's why we started our Driven to Give Foundation. So
there's so many different components in the automotive industry, from service to sales to parts, that could go wrong at any given time in somebody's experience. But when it comes to being nice and treating your potential customers or your customers with respect, that costs $0. So that's something that we say hello to everybody, offer them a coffee, a water, a little snack, whatever it is. Just treat everybody with respect, because they'll treat you with respect, and.
And you might like someone that's coming in for service too, and they're coming in because their car's not working or something like that. That stinks. That's not fun. It's like when you have to go to the doctor, like for doing something that you don't want to go. You're sick. It stinks. If you do one little thing, like just getting them a cup of coffee when they're sitting down, or ask them if they want a cup of coffee, that could change their mood and something. And it literally takes you 2 seconds to do, and it's free, like Dylan said.
And change somebody's day. It's amazing.
Like, how good does that feel? I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling, whether it changes there or not. You went out of your way to make sure someone was trying to have a better time, or just trying to feel a little bit better.
Yep.
So we try to instill in everyone, like whether it's a technician that sees someone just to say good morning, right, from an advisor to a salesman to a general manager coming to say hello everyone in the service drive in the morning. Those are very important things, and that's I know I learned it from my dad and my grandfather. And then JK is a big proponent. Every day he does his full walk, says good morning to everyone that's in there, and I would bet every single GM is doing that every day and wants to be a part of the action, know how everyone's doing, get a pulse on it. So.
Well, that's really all I have prepared, but it was a really great time to hear even how many little parts go into the dealership identity on it.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a lot of little things that go.
Look at what we're doing here. We're doing a podcast that I don't know many other dealers that do a podcast, and that just, it pays homage to, our identity. We want to be a leader in not only technical innovation, but also customer satisfaction, transparency, whatever it is, you put it on the table. We want to be we want to be the forerunner.
I mean, we want to be
in every
proponent
aspect.
that customer experience, the customer loyalty. Like I said, we talk about in all podcasts. Like we want you to be a customer for life. And the story, and like I said, we have great employees. This is not just us preaching to the choir. Our employees take this upon themselves, and they're phenomenal what they do. They go above and beyond, and we can't thank them enough for sharing our vision and our image of how we want customers to be treated and how they want them to be handled and our business ran. So that's kudos to all of them as well.
It's all of them.
So, I mean, great people is the number one priority that you have to have when we're running a business, and we have some phenomenal people.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and follow us at Healey Brothers on all social platforms.